Hi, everybody. Welcome to Getting to Goal, the conversation. I am your host, Jessica, the managing attorney of J Bull Consulting Firm LLC. And yes, we are back at it again with another installment. Our special guest for today is Sybil Bull. That's right, guys. We're in the same room. How exciting. Yay. And if you notice, her last name is Bull too. So there is a little bit of a relation, but that doesn't change any of the information because you guys know I'm all about empowering and bringing you knowledge and information about how to run your business, level up, and make that money. So Sybil is a author, serial entrepreneur, mother of seven, pastor, counselor, and Maxwell coach. Oh yeah, she got it going on. So for all my serial entrepreneurs out here, this is for you. Okay, you can run multiple businesses, be successful, write your book, coach people, and this is an embodiment of it. Okay, yes, I am biased. This is my mom. I love her. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and kind of the different ventures and entrepreneur ventures you have going on currently?
Awesome. Thank you, Jessie.
You're welcome.
For having me on. I'm so excited to be with you all and to share today. As she's already said, I am Sybil Bull, her mom, aka her mom. So just to share a little bit about myself, let's see, I am 52, just to give you my age range so you can understand the timeline. For me, about 20 years ago, I opened my first business, which was a fashion boutique. I had garments that I would sell in an actual location, plus I had catalogs. And I also did one of my favorite things, which was also to help someone educate them on their own style. And that was so much fun. And I was also the person who would show up and say, hey, I could be your personal shopper. So that's how I got into business. And getting into business at that moment taught me a lot about myself. So let's keep going in the journey. So that's 20 years ago, I started off doing that business. I've also, for about, I want to say almost 30 years, I have been mentoring, coaching. They didn't call it coaching back then, giving spiritual direction, empowering women, empowering men to live this incredible life, to make life decisions and do what they had to do. So that's what I've done before that. Then I had the boutique, which I also learned a lot about myself. I needed to make money, but I started it off as a hobby. We're going to get back into that later. And so I also, on this year, released my first book. So I'm an author. Woo-hoo! To all the first-time authors, second-time authors, or if you're thinking about being an author, I just want to encourage you that you can do it. So I wrote a book, Just Appetizers, Small Principles for Life's Big Hunger. And it's definitely a very easy read, and it is for the business owner. It's for the stay-at-home mom. It is for the woman or the man who just are looking for something to empower them from success, lifestyle, or parenting. That's all in the book, and you can just read a little bit of nibble every day and grow. That's my authorship. And one of the things that I love to do in life, period, it's not just business, is that I love to empower people, help people develop what I call strategies to get to what's in their head, get it out of their head, strategize them in the steps that they need to take to get to the best favorable outcome. So that's what I've been doing. That's a little bit about me. And I also, almost forgot, y'all.
Serial entrepreneur. I told y'all, serial entrepreneur.
And we are almost 5 years old, but we're 4.5 years old, going into 5 years old for Symphony Body Products, which is our handcrafted skincare designed for sensitive skin and for those who have dry skin or eczema. That's me.
Okay. So, like I told y'all, she is a serial entrepreneur. So she is doing all types of businesses. And if you notice, she said that she had started over 20 years ago with her fashion boutique, and it has evolved into different businesses. So why don't you share with us, what is one thing that you learned in your first business that you carried on to these other ventures that other maybe newer entrepreneurs think like you just were like unaware of? You know, what could you share with us? One thing.
Okay, one thing to share with you that I learned about myself in my first business is that I started a business without all of the insight into an industry that I jumped into. So sometimes I think the lesson for me was that we think that we have to know everything before we take the leap. We think that we need to know everything before we started it. And I'm very happy that I took the leap. But as I was looking back, that was one of the things that I realized, that I had done some research and talked to some people. But sometimes you can talk for years to people, but you have to take the step, the leap, the jump. You have to make the move. You have to make that decision. And that's the first thing that I would say to someone that I learned, was that, you know what, there's not enough lessons, YouTube channels, books to read. There's not enough coaching that you're going to get, mentorship that you're going to get. You're just eventually going to have to take that leap. That's what I would say I learned.
I completely agree. I think it's really important that when you are moving forward in your business, that yes, you have to research, but you have to start at some point.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hoping these conversations will encourage you to do, that there are other people out here who are starting, they're running businesses. Some of us are failing and starting new businesses,
Yes.
but we never give up and we continue to move on.
Absolutely.
And speaking of failing, let's talk about our mistakes / lessons that we have learned along the way. What is something that was I don't like calling it a mistake, but sometimes it's a mistake because every mistake is a lesson learned.
Right.
But what's a mistake that you feel is really common in entrepreneurship, or that you yourself have experienced that you want to help us kind of like skirt and avoid?
Okay, so I'm going to bring out my big sign that says emergency, emergency. So I have so many.
Well, list them.
So many
Share
failures.
with us.
I had so many failures that brought me here. You got to have lots of failures. The more
Lots of
failures
failures.
that you have, the more, the closer you are to your success, right?
Yes.
So the first failure that I had was that I made a lot of business decisions out of my emotions. So so when you're making decisions in life, and when it comes to business, you have to include your mind and your heart to make it a good decision. I was doing a lot of heart emotional decisions, which meant that I wasn't using my mind in how I did it. You're asking, what does that look like? I'm going to tell you. It's the kind where someone came into my boutique and they were saying the price was too high. I'm the owner. I have all the control. I could give you a sale and a discount right then and there. I forgot, however, in my mind, in my business module, that I needed to pay my rent. So I needed to make sure that I was meeting the goals of making my money to pay my rent. So one of the things, again, don't make all your decisions with just your heart. Don't make it with all your mind, with all your thoughts only, just being logical, because sometimes you may miss an opportunity that may not make sense, but it feels like your heart tells you, your intuition and your mind goes together. The other failure in my growth module of life
Share with us.
that I would say that I also learned was that it's important that you get into a community that are like-minded. So people that have the same like mind as you, meaning they want to grow, they want to expand, they're in the same vein of flowing. They may not have the same business as you, but you don't want to talk about apples and oranges with someone who only knows about elephants and pigs. So, and then you want to also get in a community where someone is going to challenge you to go further, like getting to the gold. Is going to challenge you to go further. And one of the newer things that I learned is my legal aspect of my business. That part, yes, getting educated on there. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much I don't know. And being able to find counsel, good counsel, and not just thinking that you could just go on and Google and just search your own thing and do your own thing, but really finding out copyright, trademarks, really having my contracts, my paperwork together, my documents to be good. That's been important to me. And that's one of I want to say in the last couple of years, especially the last 6 to 9 months, that's been major for me in business that I've learned. I feel like I sat in a chair and in first grade again, and the teacher was telling me all the new things. And I was like, I'm just learning my ABCs all over again in business. So I would definitely say one of those things would be legal for my foundational things.
Obviously, this is a plug, y'all, because, I'm an attorney. But she said the price is the price, okay? That is what I want you guys to remember. The price is the price. Set your prices. Make sure you understand why you're charging what you're charging. It's okay if clients with discounts and coupons, like, we all like a good discount, but your price is a price. You got to pay your rent. You got to make sure your overhead. And if you get employees, you got to pay them too. So just make sure you understand your price. And then the second thing she talked about was a team, right? You want to make sure you're in a community. You want to make sure you're in a team. Yes, you are a solopreneur maybe, but that doesn't mean you gotta be solo. You
That's
gotta
right.
go and find a community that either understands what you're doing. And when I say community, it doesn't have to be 50,000 people. My community, when I was building my firm, or as I'm building my firm, is 3, 4 ladies. It doesn't have to be
Exactly.
tens of thousands, but I'm in big communities.
That's right.
So make sure you find those people and you reach out and you network and be nice. Just be nice.
Be friendly.
We know we all trying to make money. We know we're all
Yes.
trying to hustle, but that doesn't mean that we can't be assets to one another.
Yes.
So now we want to kind of dive into the
Hold
legal
on.
aspect.
Can I interrupt you for
Ooh,
just a
the
moment?
coach is coming, y'all. She coming.
Okay. So let me also share another failure, right? Another failure that I had was not planning way out. So what I was saying, one of the things that happens to us when we first start, so we leap and we jump and we know we're trying to figure it out, we're trying to juggle, we're trying to balance it out, and we got to do social media, and we got to write a business plan, and we got to do all these things, and we're just juggling. And I heard someone say it. They put it in such a nice summary that I would not have been able to. But my failure was working in the business and not on the business. Mm-hmm. And so what working in the business means, it means that every day I'm working so hard in what I need to achieve and what I need to do today, tomorrow, the next day, that I don't open up my vision to go beyond the actual hardship of what I'm working through today. So the on is that I open up, I start dreaming. I say, I have employees. How would my onboarding look? How would my procedures look? How do I grow from the 3 months to the 6 months to the 3 years to the 6 years? So really dreaming and opening up myself to the vision to be bigger. That's one of the things that I had failed to do before when I was in business. And so you were just working so hard to make ends meet, so hard to make sure you got that 5,500, whatever your goal was, so many clients, this, and this, that you did not open up to say, well, if I grew, what would that look like? What would it include? How many people would I need for this success moment? What's my numbers? Just being able and dream. Don't resist it being big. It's okay. It's supposed to overwhelm you when it's that big. And so it's okay for you to get up the next day and cry. That's another thing that I realized, that when you're an entrepreneur, when you're in business, you're going to cry, you're going to have emotions. Keep pressing forward through it, but don't just work in your business, work on your business as well.
See, she wants y'all to have that goal. I told you she a coach, and all her information gonna be in the description. Okay, you can check out all her businesses and all her ventures. So she is completely right. You want to continually work on your business, not just in it. And part of that is building business, making sure that you have proper contracts in place, making sure that you're protecting and taking necessary steps for your clients and customers. Now, was that something you were doing when you first started? Because you said the 6 to 9 months, but you said you started your first business in 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So what about the legal aspect has changed for you, and what are things that have become important as you've been running your business? Because you said you were getting educated. So share with us what you've been getting educated about.
So that's a great question. So 20 years ago when I started, there was no one in my community that was talking about the legal aspects, right? The big culture move was to do social media, have great graphics, doing, get your logo, doing all these things. But the educational piece that really hit me hard was how I didn't have ownership. And how I was working hard and paying for something that really was like I was renting or leasing it. It was not mine. So being educated on that aspect helped me, because when we started Symphony Body Products, getting our formula together, having our logo, owning certain things when I was going to write my book, from last year to this year in this moment, realizing that once I had written my book, I needed to have it copywritten, and I needed to also have everything that the contract the person was sharing, or a logo that was created, or the book cover, those kind of things. Understanding, did I really own these things, or are these things just like I would say in my term, lease, and someone else has it, and so I was paying you for something that I didn't own. And then, was my contracts really a contract? I had contracts, but they weren't they weren't seen by a counselor. They weren't seen by a professional. There was something that I had created. I Googled and I tweaked and I did some things, but there were different parts of the business aspect that I wasn't covered. And having that legal, I call it the foundation, making sure that my foundation was really strong. Not just am I making the money, but how will I long-term, this is a part of working on my business. How does it long-term look to have my legal aspects of my business solid? Because that's your foundation. You can build a house any kind of way you want when the foundation is solid. And when you're talking about business, you want the foundation to be solid. You just don't want to know your numbers. You just don't want to have an accountant. You definitely want to, I'm telling you again, you got to have your legal part of your business right, because if not, now you're going to go into court. You're going to be wasting energy, money, and resources you don't even have on something that you could have taken care of if you were willing to slow down and make sure the aspect of your legal business is solid in the foundation. So that's definitely something that I would say I wasn't aware of as much, and I did not seek counsel. But after having counsel and doing those things, it really has, it's opened my eyes, y'all. I is awake, as they would say. I'm woke. And so I'm alert, but I'm not just awoke. I'm taking actions to do what needs to be done to have a solid business foundation. And that's what I would say over and over to you.
And that's completely correct. That is often my spiel. You guys know, you probably being like, she's a puppet, but it's true, right? Like, you want to have a really strong
for real.
Foundation. And now you're talking about Miss Bull over here, okay? She is a Amazon bestseller, okay? Did we mention that? Okay, because her book is popping. And we went through, she was actually one of my first clients, guys. Yes,
I love it.
We copyrighted her book. And how was that process for you when you had to learn about copyright, or what is something that surprised you in your writing your book process when it came to the legal aspect of it? Because I know there's a ton of authors out there, and you wrote your book and you're just like, what do I do now? What would you say to those authors, or how can you help them kind of like start on that journey if they're interested?
Okay. Start on which part of the journey?
Well, the legal journey,
the
right?
legal journey.
Because a lot of times you write the book and you're like, okay, I wrote the book. How do I talk to the publisher? Or, you know, what should I be thinking about? And I know I'll be chatting, but, you know, from your perspective, what was something that either surprised you or intimidated you, or you were like, oh, I'm really glad I know this now?
Okay, that's so good. So because the journey is not that far behind me, and it's so important to me now, one major thing that stood out was when I shared with J Bull Consulting that I had written a book. The first question was, is it copyright? Did you get that copywritten before you sent it to the publisher? And I was like, no, I would not have known that had I not shared it with the legal counselor, you know, to give me advice on what needed to be done. And that blew my mind, because I'm thinking that is you turn it in, the publisher, maybe they do it, maybe they have someone who does it. So I didn't know the proper process and the steps to take. So that was so important to me. You did an incredible job teaching me and educating me and advising me and getting my book copyrighted.
Oh, thank you so much.
But no, on a serious note though, I didn't know those aspects. And so I was like, oh, so I'm supposed to send it before? So if you're going to write your book, the copy of the book, once it's edited and you got that part done, before you send it in for someone to look at it and do everything and maybe pull parts of it out and own it for themselves, you want to make sure you get it copywritten. And then I think the other part that really, again, tripped me up, or kind of was amusing and also informational for me, was I didn't know that every time I did like some major changes to it, I needed to also update my copywritten format legally as well. And then any arts and certain things that I own it, and looking at the contract to see what the verbiage was. That was something that I would have taken for granted and been like, oh, that's good, and here's my deposit, and you know, here's my signature. And then afterwards I could see, had I not gotten legal advice or counsel and then follow through. Sometimes people get advice and counsel, but they don't follow through.
Right.
So let me put that part as well. I followed through, and following through because I understand this. This is the thing about business. You're a mastermind in the field or the industry that you're called to, but you're not a mastermind in everything. And so I'm not a mastermind when it comes to legal things. And therefore it would be foolish of me to question the counselor when I don't know anything about it. So that writing that book, that made it so peaceful for me because I knew that that part had been done. And when the book was published, that everything was in proper order. So I hope I answered the question.
No, you answered.
But that's definitely,
There's no wrong answer.
I hope I answered that for y'all too. Leave a comment in the chat. Let me know how we did. Okay.
Yes. And I wanted to offer some clarification because I can already hear you guys right now. But I thought once it's written, it's a copyright, and it's true. Just a little technical error. We're back. So it's true that once you write a book, there is a copyright to it. Mm-hmm. What Ms. Bull is talking about is a federally registered copyright. And I don't want you to feel discouraged if you have not done it yet.
Right.
It's never too late to go ahead.
Never too late.
Right. But the reason we want to do it is because we want to avoid any negotiations or situations where there's a problem about ownership.
Right.
Right. When it's federally registered, ain't no discussion about ownership. And yes, most publishers are not going to steal your work. Okay.
No, they're not.
I don't want y'all to be out here shook. However, what are we talking about? We're talking about having a firm business foundation. What is best practice. Right. And that's all we're really trying to. So I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, my book has been out. It's sold to all these people. It's not copyrighted. It's okay, boo.
You're covered.
You are good. You can reach out to a counselor and get some assistance or go to an attorney or Google it and try to figure it out yourself. Either way, there are steps you can take to protect your business. So we said that she's an author. We said that she's a coach. I really I wanted to bring her on specifically because she is offering goods and services, right? So being an entrepreneur when you're selling goods and being an entrepreneur when you're selling services, there can be different challenges. So why don't you share with us kind of what are some differences between your businesses when you're doing a good, which your Symphony body products and your book versus when you're coaching or offering those type of services? What are different challenges that you find or differences between those types of businesses?
So the difference is, do we have time out there, y'all?
We do not. We do not. We'll have to bring her back.
Okay, so when we're talking about the goods, we're breaking into an industry. We're creating a product. We have formulas. That's what I have because I have skincare. We have formulas. We have all these different things. So for me, again, that legal part was important, but also understanding the industry that I had just tapped into and what my goods had to do and how it had to be. It was so many different aspects of that and who I had to be and who's the person behind the brand and and the story that goes with the brand.
Breathe.
And you wanted to make sure that you're offering something when it comes to goods. Thank you. This is what I want to make sure I say. When it comes to goods, you want to make sure that you're offering something that you really believe in. You want to offer goods that it's close to your heart. You're passionate about it. It's a part of your own life. You're also, the goods are also answering the problem or solving a solution. So for me, that's where I was what is it solving? What is it doing? What's the results that I'm looking for with that format? And then switching over now to where I'm doing the mentorship or the coaching piece is also different because now it's not just that I'm packaging this beautiful product and the formula and those kind of things. Now it's who am I called to? Who do I speak to? Who do I communicate with? Who am I supposed to help grow? And that's different because I have to switch off from being just the creative of the products and all of these things and manage that part to now saying, okay, what do I offer? Okay, I've got this book. I might have a manual. I might have this. I might have that. I have a program. These formats of things that I'm creating takes a lot of different work because now, again, it's another brand. It's all me, but I have to I have to sit and think about long term, where is this going to go? How is it going to look? And when I am creating it, again, my foundation has to be strong. I have to be able to understand myself completely as a person so that I'm not a fraud. Okay. We want to have authentic. When you're coaching, you have to be authentic. You have to have your own wins and your own triumph. You can't be out here just doing something because it's popular. So for me, I was like, okay, it took a moment to figure out. People call it your niche. But for me, I would like to say that it's not just your niche in life. It's actually a part of your purpose and what you're supposed to be offering and what you're supposed to, outside of you, come out of you as an abundance to offer to other people. That's going to improve their lives. That's going to educate them. That's going to impact them, may activate them based on what's already inside of you, not just what you've read or what you've learned. I hope I answered that.
Listen, she over here coaching us. Huh? She is coaching us. She can't even help it.
I'm sorry.
She can't even help it.
It's just me being me, so.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Because I know that a lot of us, we want to do we want to do more than just one thing. And if you are that person, I want you to feel encouraged that you can do it, right? If you want to do goods, if you want to do service, if you want to write a book, you can do it, and you can do it well. Okay. So what is something that you want everyone to kind of take away today if they are a starter entrepreneur, if they are, a serial entrepreneur like yourself who's been at it for years? What's something that you want them to take away? What is something that you want them to remember today?
So some things that I would like you I would like to leave with you, right, is be comfortable being you. And what that looks like, only you will know the process you have to go through for that. The concept of saying that we're both coaches, like she could be a coach and I could be a coach, but not comparing ourselves to how we coach is
not a coach.
It's very important. And I was sharing with someone, they were doing business, and I was telling them, I said, now what you want to make sure is when you're doing your business, that is always authentic and it is true to you. It is true to you. The other thing that I want you to be comfortable with is this. You're going to find a lot of emotional moments. You're going to have every week, you're going to also have, whether you're serial or you're not, or you're just starting out, you're going to have moments where you say to yourself, I can't do this. And those are just moments, and they're normal. And you just go through them. You don't get stuck there. You go through them. And the other thing that I want to say to those of you who are considering, well, I want to start a business. I don't know what it is, but I really want to do something. I don't want you to do something. I want you to really take the moment to think about, what question do I answer? What problem do I solve? Not just create something out of the wind, but also just look at yourself. You've always been doing certain things, and you don't have to have all the answers. You don't need all the money. You don't need all the education. There are some things locked inside of you that you could take the leap to do. And then there are people that will be surrounding you to help you do what you have to do. So I want to plug that in and help you to take the leap when it's your time and when it's your, when you know what the purpose of what you're doing is. So don't just jump there to do anything. Do what you have to do. And the last thing that I want to leave with you is, don't get caught up in what everyone is doing unrealistically, saying that they made, in 6 months they had 6 figures. Now you can do that. Absolutely. But while you're doing your 6 figures, I want you to understand that your foundation must be solid. And I talked about having the aspect of the community, the legal pieces, other things that go with your business to keep it strong. You want the longevity of your business. You don't want to be one of those people who jump up overnight and you have all the 6 figure and it only lasted for 12 months. You want to be that longevity business. You want to be able to have long term, and you want to grow, and you want to leave legacy. So just remember, it's going to take some time, but you could do it. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope you guys got those tips. And I hope that you were able to kind of digest. And if you didn't, rewind. Okay. And
Rewatch it.
rewind it. Okay. Because she just hit some gems for us. So, oh my goodness, we're so glad you were able to come with us on Getting to Goal, the conversation. As you guys know, I am building this series out, and she is our second guest, and we are so happy that she could be here with us.
Yes.
If people are like, yo, this lady is dope, how can they find you?
You don't have to look too far. All right, so I'm on IG and Facebook at I am Sybil Bull, period. I am Sybil Bull, and I'm on LinkedIn at Sybil F. Bull. You can find me there. And guess what? I have a YouTube channel for my Just Appetizers, Small Principles. And you can find that at Sybil Bull, and it will be Just Appetizers. Yes, I have a video channel called Just Appetizers.
And I'm going to include the description, all her links and everything. Go follow her. Go check her out. If you were like, woo, she is speaking to me, then let her speak to you consistently on her Instagram. And also remember, because she is still your entrepreneur, there's going to be a lot of links. So click on all of them so you can check out and kind of stalk her a little bit, okay? Her book's on Amazon. You can go to symphonybodyproducts.com to find her body products.
You can actually go to my website for my book. It is www.sybilbull.com, and you can see all about me there. I also do public speaking. I forgot to say that part, but anyway.
Serial entrepreneur.
It's been a joy being here.
She says she got jobs, okay? Like, don't sleep on her. So for my serial entrepreneurs out there, for my anticipating or aspiring serial entrepreneurs out there, this your lady right here, okay? And we're gonna have some more. I'm so glad you guys could tune in. Share, comment. I want to hear what you think. If you have any questions, she's super dope. She will definitely answer them, and we will get back to you. DM her, man. Hit her up. Hit me up. Let me know if you want to see somebody on Getting to Go, the conversation. Thank you for joining us. We do not have a designated time or date, so check us when we post. All right? Have a good rest of the day and keep doing what you're doing.